I have seen a lot of documentaries in my day. I've never quite seen anything like this documentary, the Red Pill movie that just came out. It's the end of March is 2017. This movie comes out. It is like a nuclear bomb. And we're going to talk about a little bit of what I just saw. And it's worthy of making this review. I recommend you watch this entire thing. I'm going to have some viewpoints that are a little bit different than a lot of the ones that I've seen in response to this documentary. So anyhow, let's first talk about who did it. It's this girl, Cassie. She is, I think, a brilliant filmmaker, but she hadn't really done many videos, I guess. I mean, she talked about, I'd never heard about her before, but she talked about some of the videos she'd done before this one, and they were all pertaining to women's rights, and she had referred to herself as a feminist prior to doing this video. So she basically hears about this underground movement, the men's rights movement. I'd never heard of it, actually. It's such a small little movement that never gets any traction and gets put down immediately any time anybody hears about it. And so she heard about it, and she said, oh, well, that's interesting. I'm going to go and travel, and I'm going to meet with these people and interview them. So that's the beginning of the beginning of the documentary. She actually gets into a car with the leader of this men's rights movement. And I'm glued to the screen at this point, you know. And so next scene, she's interviewing him. And she's also showing some really controversial things that he said on his website. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, God, what a jerk, you know. He's a misogynistic asshole. So the minute he starts talking, you're like, oh, this is going to be kind of like a curveball. This is not exactly what I was thinking. And then you're thinking to yourself, well, what is she thinking? And she's still a feminist at this point in the film. So they get into the issues. He starts stating his issues, you know, his concerns and why he's doing this, why he has this men's rights movement. And they're very, very deadly serious. I mean, we're talking about stuff that, you know, I'd gone through myself. I didn't really think of it in the way that he's thinking of it. A lot of the issues have to do with death or incarceration or losing your children, and you know, stuff that's just terrible, you know, and that's all stuff that I had gone through, right? So I'm thinking to myself, wow, there's other people out there like myself, and God, it's the first time I'm ever hearing someone else talk about it without getting shut down. Everyone's always talking about the other side, an experience that I don't have much experience in. So there's always been that disconnect. But man, they start immediately bringing out the statistics, and these statistics are from, you know, CDC, FBI.gov. I mean, you know, it's deadly serious and it's deadly factual. That's the first 10 minutes. I'm like glued to the screen. I'm like, holy crap. Halfway through the movie, I immediately started to message friends of mine, actually, and I was telling them, this is the probably the most hard-hitting, brutal documentary I've ever seen. I said, you've got to check this out. It just keeps getting better and better. And she has these journals, like these diaries in between each segment, you know, each interview, where she, by herself, late at night, puts the camera on her and she starts to talk about what she's thinking. And, you know, it's like day 3, day 5, you know, that type of thing. And she's getting conflicted. She's saying to herself, she's like, you know, I always thought that, you know, how I was objectified when I was an actress, and I'd always play parts of, you know, women being tied up and stuff like that. And I thought it was so tough, this and that. And she's like shaking her head. She's like, you know, and I also never was able to put myself in someone else's shoes. You know, I was always in my own shoes. And she's saying, God, I'm glad I'm a woman. You know, she starts thinking things like this. But, you know, that's halfway through the movie. So what happens in the next half of the movie, she starts to interview the other side, the opposition. And she goes even further and starts interviewing viewpoints of other people too. You know, for instance, women who are supporters of men and she goes after women who are supporters of only women. And I'd say, what is so different about this movie is the whole way through the movie, you're wondering if she is for or against, or you don't know where she's standing. So you wait until the end of the movie to find out what the verdict is. She does all this research. She really is very thorough. It's amazing. And the statistics are mind-blowing. And you start to think to yourself, it's not just statistics, but, and from my point of view and my life experience, I'm like, it does kind of ring a bell there. It really does. I can see how and why those statistics are the way they are. The main concept behind this whole movie is that there are serious issues, justifiable issues that men have, and they're not listened to. They're disposable. And this is all documented and factual in terms of statistics and in terms of our history and why exactly that is. And it's not really blaming the other side. There's the blame game is more of a question mark. There is a lot of crisscrossing where both sides see each other's point of view. There's these very radical people, and the problem ends up being just that the radical people are intolerant of those views and intolerant of those issues. They're just all about their own issues. So that's the difference about the movie, is that it is very open-ended. There's a question mark there, but in the the irony is that through the movie, the question that's asked is answered, and it's just like a sledgehammer. We're talking just brutal. I mean, fatality. For lack of a better word, I mean, the feminist philosophy is eviscerated in this movie. I mean, just entirely destroyed, and not really intentionally destroyed. It's not. It kind of implodes on its own. It just does itself in, and it's just incredible. So after the movie was done, I immediately started to research the people who were in the movie, and I watched this Q&A. I watched the whole Q&A that was done at the screening of the movie, and it was amazing. I would say probably the highest. First of all, before I talk about the screening a little bit, and that's down here in my little list, here's the movie. And hey, the link is in this description box. Definitely rent it. I got it on Amazon. I'm going to put a link for the Amazon just so you can just click on it right below the video. But take a look at these reviews. And also, before I do the reviews, look, when a feminist filmmaker sets out to document the mysterious and polarizing world of the men's rights movement, she begins to question her own beliefs. I just saw this, the mysterious and polarizing world. I'm thinking it's going to be against whatever this is. I'd never heard of this men's rights movement, right? And I saw the reviews. I was like, are those reviews right? It's almost 5 stars. I don't think I ever see videos that are that have that high of a review. I mean, look at this. They're all 5 stars. Incredible. So, I didn't really read these comments just yet. I grabbed the movie. And so, after the movie, I went to YouTube, and I looked it up, and I found this Q&A. I'm watching this Q&A, and they had some feminists there. They had some, all sorts of people from all walks of life, because it's a woman. It's a feminist who did the movie. So, there's all sorts of people, and it's more of like, I guess people can listen to her a little bit different. All sides can listen to her, and it's going to, I don't know if she knew it was going to be such a hit. It looks like she had a lot of opposition to doing the movie. It looks like it's being banned everywhere. But I'm telling you, this Q&A, they bring a few of the people who were in the movie into the, at the screening, and they're all sitting at a panel. And it is like nothing you've ever seen before, seeing that, everyone has differences. They all have differences. The filmmaker and some of the main people in the movie. This one main guy, You'll see him. He's the main guy the first 10 minutes. He is an incredible speaker. He's an incredible intellectual. He's hated by a lot of people. But you stay to the end of the movie and you'll see a little bit of why he's hated. He's one of these guys who's a little upset. People mistook his satire for literal ideas. And there's a bit of a debate. There's a smashing debate because it really exposes this movement, this anti-male movement, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, with people who are just simply intolerant, simply intolerant of, and that's the entire problem. So when they try to justify why they're doing what they're doing, and they say, "Oh, I'm not radical. I actually like the movie," it's still not good enough for a couple of the people who are in the movie. They say, "Well, you say you like the movie, and you say you're not radical, but you say that you're still a feminist. Why? What does that mean?" And they can't explain it. No one can explain it. And the reaction, aside from a few very mainstream writers, I saw on Rotten Tomatoes it was 93% audience reviewed, and there was a couple high-profile writers from the Village Voice and other publications that were very critical. Very good writing, and I could see where they're coming from as well in terms of being critical of her style and why the movie is, it's very hard to write like that when you got such a good movie and be critical of something that is very good and it's pretty unanimous. We got 95% approval ratings from audiences, and you just got to see this movie. I'm talking about everybody who wants to see a good documentary and see how it's done. And then, of course, people like me who've been through a divorce and child custody and all that, very, very serious issues that are not being listened to and being shouted over with, and no pointing fingers at all. It's just that type of movie. So I definitely recommend you see it. It's incredible. All right, so thanks. Okay, so what do you do now? You go to reviewdebate.com/redpill and get this documentary immediately. Subscribe to our channel for more reviews and look forward to the next.